Yeah, so it's been a year. Can you believe it?
August 2020, it has been a year. It's been a crazy fast year.
And we were supposed to be in the air flying when the blast happened because we were on our way back to Lebanon from the States. We had been in the States, we got stuck there. And I remember I was in a board meeting on my computer, and all of a sudden I started getting all these news service alerts of blasts and also text messages and things. And I remember you got something from Julie.
Yeah, I was in the States in our US office, and all of a sudden I got a text from Julie Hannibal, and she says, I just want you to know I and the kids are okay. They didn't know what had happened, but their doors had blown in, but she says, we are okay.
And Trip and Rachel went in their apartment. Some of our missionary team there, all their windows got blown in. Our windows got blown into the flat that we would have been at. We would have been sat probably at the table. 6 p.m. that evening, we were almost always sat at the dining room table, either eating or working on our computers, and the windows got blown in and literally cut the table in half. So thankfully we weren't there, but then started our, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna respond? And our teams, both in Lebanon and in the US, just were amazing.
Yeah, it was 3 days of panic, 3 days of adrenaline. We had text messages from all around the world making sure our team and us were safe. And then we got together and we were just like, we've got to do something. We've got to make a difference here.
Yeah, 300,000 people displaced in a moment's time, 80,000 children. All the hospitals in that area, there's 3 major hospitals destroyed. I remember hearing this story, and there's a harrowing video. One of my most impactful memories really is the video of a nurse in a prenatal section of a hospital carrying 2 babies. You know, she got blown off her feet, and you could see in the video all the beds from the baby beds from the newborn babies were all moved all over the place. Thankfully, the babies weren't hurt, but there was no electricity in the hospital anymore. So she grabbed hold of the babies and went walking like several kilometers to try and find a place where there was electricity and power where she could take care of these babies that were in these incubators. And I read a story just today about how a doctor was talking about the devastation that took place and how they turned the parking lot of the hospital into this kind of triage center, and they literally were doing whatever those things are, brain surgeries in the parking lot, and people are injured from all over the place. So it was incredible what was happening both on the ground, but then our team responded in the US. Within just a couple days, we were able to get the Love Lebanon campaign up, and our partners responded from around the world.
It was amazing. We literally had people that rallied together. What can we do? Australia, South America, down in Brazil, Peru, all around the world, Nigeria,
throughout Europe.
Yes, Germany. I just could go down the list and just tell you, literally, people came together to say, what can we do? It's still, Yeah,
it's pretty incredible. So, we're a small mission organization compared to, a lot of ministries. And to see in 4 weeks how our partners from around the world spread the word, mobilize their friends and family, and our goal was $100,000 in 4 weeks. And we crushed that goal in 4 weeks' time and continued the weeks following, and eventually set another goal of 150, crushed that goal, and then eventually 200, passed that as well. Big shout out to our partners, friends and family in the UK who, a part of that $200,000 plus was raised through our friends and family in the UK with a Beirut disaster fund that they set up. And so then the next step is in Lebanon. Our team, we had a series going. We were doing ministry stuff. We pushed pause on everything. We said we are going to devote ourselves to making sure we're helping people in the most critical areas of need. And that included checking on all the churches to make sure everybody's okay. And one of the incredible things, and Julie will tell you a little later, she'll share about this, but there was just story after story after story of God's intervention and protection we asked every pastor we knew, every church we knew, we could not find one single born again Christian that we knew of whose life was lost. And it's a miracle to, one of the largest non-atomic bomb explosions, one of the largest explosions that was a non-atomic explosion in history, and we couldn't find any born again Christians that life was lost. And I think you should share that later, maybe.
Yeah, I'll share just how the Lord had kind of prepared us for that and how we were able to pray into it. So I'll share that as the time gets going.
So, a year later, where are we at? And honestly, it's been not just because of the blast, but even before the blast. And in October 2019, the revolution kicked off, and then COVID, and then the blast. And since in this past year, now it's been almost 2 years now, Lebanon has really been struggling. So inflation is the highest it's ever been in 150 years. Even during war times, they've not seen anything like this. The currency's been devaluated so that a person, an average wage, they used to be able to buy all their needs for the month. Now they can barely buy a few things of baby's powder of milk for that same period.
The elderly who relied on a pension literally has no pension, so they're relying on their children, and the children don't have money. So lots of things are happening here in Beirut.
There's still no government.
Lebanon.
Still no government has been formed, which means they can't, basically correct the challenges that need to be corrected in order to get the funding back in place. So as a result, the power grid has not been funded properly. There's no money in the Central Bank of Lebanon. There's no money to be able to buy the fuel with which to power the power plants that power the power to the whole country.
People only have 2 hours worth of electricity in many places. Some don't even have electricity at all. In fact, here, even in our apartment, we have regular outages. In fact, in the city, it's even worse.
Which has a knock-on effect that you wouldn't think of, maybe. And
grocery stores were closed. I tried to go to the grocery store the other day. They said we have no electricity to even open, so we couldn't even go to that grocery store. The bakeries can't do bread because they can't fund.
There's no
the
power.
Generator. There's
no power. And part of it is they just can't get the diesel in the country. And if you've seen any of our pictures over the last few months, there's some people have been waiting sometimes for days just to get their cars filled with fuel. So it's definitely challenging. But here's the good news: is in the midst of all of this, we are literally seeing every single month our broadcast is reaching tens of thousands of people in Lebanon alone, and the team is growing. We are in the middle of expanding to double our space because we've run out of space in our ministry headquarters, our office. And so because of, in part, the blast and all the challenges, and because our landlord has been just super, super great to work with, we've developed a partnership in this project where we're helping to refit out, repair things, basically.
Because it exploded during the explosion.
All the windows
So we've been able to go in and repair it, and that's helped us.
In exchange for free rent for 3 years. So it's helped them, it's helped us, it's been a win-win situation. And just this last week, we had about $30,000 came in towards that. I think we've got about $20,000 left. So if you're interested in helping out with that project, just check out our website, the HQ expansion thing. So amazing what's happening.
Throughout this whole month, we are going to be focusing on stories of what you have invested in and how you've been helping here in Beirut. Your funds are making a difference here. They're making a huge impact, especially during this time whenever we can help so many people.
Yeah. So we'll tell you more about that. You'll be hearing from people. There's going to be some interviews, live stories, and all month long, we'll be continuing to post on all our social networks. So that make sure you're following the Instagram, Club 1048 Instagram, Facebook, and then also YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing video clips as well as live interviews.
Today our newsletter went out, so I hope you were able to receive that. If you haven't received it, there's some cool things on our newsletter. So
make sure you just message us with your email address if you didn't get it today, or maybe check your spam. It could be in there too. Okay. Well, God bless you.
Get ready for more stories.
Yeah.